but if I can help you not get screwed, if I can inspire you to do something tremendous that nobody thought possible, I want to do that. And that's kind of the whole point here. I don't even know how to begin this video other than to say that my own stupidity cost me about $20,000. And that's kind of a heck of a way to start a video. But as you might notice, it is white and snowy behind me, which means I'm no longer in Arizona. 8 months ago, my family and I made the decision to sell our house in Arizona, move out to Southwest Missouri, and buy 10 acres of dirt and build a house and start a homestead. And this has been a dream for a very long time. And we're 8 months in, it's snowing, and that's the house that we're building. Now, you might notice something about this house, and that is that it's not complete. It's not even close to complete. The framing isn't even done. Not even the exterior framing is done. And part of that is, well, I fired my general contractor, 3 months ago now, because he completely took advantage of me, and in my own, I guess, I thought I knew more than I did. And what I'm learning with this project is I do not know nearly as much as I think I know, which is great and wonderful. But I fired my general contractor because he completely and totally screwed me. And my estimate is $15,000 to $20,000 that he screwed me out of. Where we're at today is there's a slab poured, we've got exterior walls framed, we have most of the trusses up, and I am currently in the middle of fighting with my framing subcontractor to finish the job. The problem is this framing sub was found by my ex-general contractor. I gotta switch hands because it's 19 degrees out here and my hands are getting cold without gloves. Let's talk about how my general contractor screwed me and how I let that happen. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, it's my fault because I allowed it, because I didn't think that this guy that seemed so nice was gonna try to take advantage of me. And he 100% did. This house was supposed to be done by Thanksgiving. It is now mid-January. I fired my contractor about mid-October. We still didn't have concrete. We weren't ready to pour concrete. All of the plumbing that was under the slab that he charged me, $14,000. Actually, no, because it was $14,000 for labor plus $2,500 in materials. So I paid $16,500 for the plumbing under that slab. And if, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little heated in this because this really, I am so incredibly frustrated and angry about how this project has gone. I am totally glad that we're doing it, but good grief. I paid $16,500 for all of the under slab plumbing. He billed me for the rough end plumbing and ran all the fresh water under the slab. There's 46 connections of PEX underneath the slab. If you know anything about plumbing, or anything about home building, or anything about anything, you know that you don't want connections underneath somewhere you can't get to, because connections are the most likely point for somewhere any kind of a fixture to leak is at a connection point. So putting 46 connections under the slab is just absolutely insane. So not only did we put all of the connections for fresh water under the slab, but none of the plumbing fixtures were in the right spot. And not by like a little, like drains are in the wrong spot, and not by like a little bit, because there were drains that were feet away from where they were supposed to be. The plumbing was so bad, there were so many things that weren't where they were supposed to be, I had to pay another plumber $2,000 to come out here, dig up the plumbing, and move it to where it needed to be. Now I've paid for rough-in plumbing, and I have paid $18,500 for rough-in plumbing, and I have now been connected with a good plumber. My neighbor runs a small plumbing company. I've seen his work, I know the guy. He came out, he looked at this and said, dude, I would have done the whole house for less than 10 grand. Rough in, trim out, all of it. Anyways, so I got screwed there. Fortunately, I fired my general contractor before he poured the concrete, and he was gonna pour the concrete himself. He was gonna trowel cut all of the control joints in the concrete. And if you know anything about concrete and control joints, they can either be saw cut, which leaves about a 1/4 inch wide slot in the top of the concrete, or you can trowel cut them, which is where you think like a sidewalk. That kind of a curved, ramped in thing, that's a trowel cut control joint. My general contractor was going to trowel cut the joints in this concrete. I said no. I fired him before he could do that. I have concrete, I have all the things, but the driveway that I paid for sucks. And I was assured, oh, that's just the rough-in driveway. They'll come back. They'll come back after construction is done and finish it out. Well, that was a lie. My general contractor falsified invoices and documents to my title company to get paid for things that he did not actually do. And I'm left holding the bill. And unfortunately, there's not really anything that I can do about it. I figure, based on other professionals in this industry, that I've been screwed out of somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. The problem is that I'm going to pay an attorney $10,000 to $15,000 to go after this guy who's just going to close his LLC, and I'm not going to see a dime of that, and I'm just going to spend more money. At this point, I think my only recourse is I'm going to take all the documents I have, and I'm going to turn these over to the state authorities, specifically the Attorney General's office, and see if there's anything that they can do, because they have more money and resources than I do. Because I'm one guy. I'm trying to build a house. Every dollar I have, every dollar the bank will loan me is going into this project. And when someone screws me out of $20,000, that's not just like, oh, well, I'm not some big giant YouTuber that has loads of money. I'm not Mr. Beast that can blow $10 million on a video. No, dude, I'm just a regular person, okay? This is insane that I can even afford to do this. Like, and as it stands right now, we are very seriously looking at the possibility that we may not even have enough money to finish putting floors in this. We might have to move into a house with no floors. And this is so incredibly frustrating because one guy saw me as an outsider moving into Missouri and decided to take advantage of me. And me, in my own arrogant way, thought that I was so smart, nobody was going to take advantage of me. And it turns out I was wrong. I'm not nearly as smart as I thought I was. As it currently stands, framing was supposed to be done a month ago. Obviously, you can see it's not. We've still got a few trusses on the ground, and we had a few trusses collapse before they got the they came out and they set, I think, 8 trusses in December, like mid-December. They set 8 trusses and then ghosted me for 2 weeks, and 7 out of 8 trusses collapsed. And so then we had to repair trusses, and it was a whole fiasco with that. And then we got most of the rest of the trusses set, but not all of them. And it's been a week, and I was promised that everything would be done last Wednesday. It is now Saturday. And this is such an incredibly frustrating process. And that's not to say that you shouldn't attempt to build your own home. That is to say that you should not trust the internet for reviews for builders. I was so arrogant that I had to go out and find somebody on my own instead of the obvious choice, which would have been talking to the guy that built my neighbor's house. Somewhere back there. That's the truck. Hang on, his house is over there. I can't see behind me. The guy that built my neighbor's house is actually the guy that ended up doing my concrete. And he's a really, really honorable man of integrity, and he does really good work. And if I had simply talked to him, instead of being so arrogant to think that I had to go find my own way, I wouldn't be in this situation. So I guess that is all to say, this house project has been so stressful, and there has been so many things going on with it that I didn't predict, that I caused. There's so many problems that I made with this project, even to the point where I used the architect that my general contractor recommended that I use. Paid a bunch of money to this architect, and my framing contractor is looking at this, and he has had to spend a ton of time to figure out how to put stuff together because the architectural drawings are so bad. It just blows my mind the level of incompetence that I have faced at every stage of this process. There are good people out there, there are good people that do good work out there, and somehow I have managed to only find a couple of them. So the guy that did my concrete, the guy that's going to do my plumbing now, it's absolutely ridiculous. But this project has consumed so much of my time and my life and just everything. That's why, if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you've noticed that there hasn't been a lot of really good, interesting, kind of long-form content like this, and that's because this project has just sucked the absolute life out of me. However, that is all going to change, because hopefully, hopefully, this week we are going to be back on track with this thing. We're going to be making progress. We should get sheeting and roof and all that stuff on by Friday, assuming I'm not being lied to again. Maybe I'm naive. I'm a firm believer that you should never attribute anything to malice that you can attribute to incompetence. And I think that's a Thomas Jefferson quote. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. This is the life that my wife and I have decided that we want for our children. We want our kids to grow up closer to their food supply on a homestead. We want to grow more of our own food for our family's nutrition, for the well-being of our children. Like, there's so many reasons that we want to do this. There's so many reasons that we want to homestead. There's so many reasons we want to live here and not where we were living. And all of those reasons are good and they are valid and they are worth pursuing. And I'm really excited to, over the next few years on the channel, start to bring you more content in that space, not just in the automotive repair world, which is kind of my day job, my professional life, but also into the homesteading space and the construction of the home space and like all the things that are going on here. I'm super excited about these projects. I'm excited about where we're going, and I'm incredibly frustrated by the mistakes that I've made, but I think that it's time that I come out from under the rock that I've been living under and I start to share these mistakes with the rest of the world for a couple reasons. The first is obviously so that you don't make the same mistake. And the second is to apply some sort of pressure to this guy that screwed me to give me some of my money back. So many people end up feeling stuck and they don't feel like they can go and do something, and they see things that they want and they go, someday I'll have that. But if you don't make a plan, if you don't start pursuing that dream, you will never achieve it. And I am not one of these guys that gets on here and is some motivation. I'm not Grant Cardone or any of the other guys. It's like, if you're not making $1 million a year, you're a terrible person. Like that's absolute baloney. And I don't believe that for a second. But I'm here to tell you that you have so much control over your life, and there are things in your life that you don't have control over. And there are things in your life that suck. There's things in my life that suck, believe me. But ultimately, your decisions, what you choose to do every day, matters for the trajectory that you're going. It matters in terms of eternity. Like, there's so many things that matter in the decisions that we make every single day. And I'm stuck out here in 19-degree weather and 5 inches of snow and a house that's not built and a framing contractor that won't answer his phone, but we're pursuing a dream. And that dream is worth pursuing. It is good. It's not just good for me. It's good for my family. It's good for my kids. It's good for my community. And that's worth pursuing. And even though it's hard, and even though it sucks, and even though there's hard times, those things are still worth doing, and we shouldn't give up on things just because they're difficult. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this one up here. I've rambled long enough about my house, but there are going to be a lot more videos coming out about the house. There's gonna be a lot more things that I'm gonna show you working on the house. There's gonna be a lot more house and homestead and farm and DIY and construction, like all of these things. There's going to be a ton more of this coming to the channel in the next year or so. Our goal right now is to have this house complete before our lease expires on our rental in town. And that is about 75, 80 days from today, which is pretty darn close to impossible. We're going to do everything in our power to make it happen. So I'm going to wrap this one up here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video or you want to see more content like this or you want to see what happens, make sure that you subscribe so that you can see those videos when they come out. And if you have any experience or you have any advice or recommendations for me, please make sure you leave those in the comments. I am learning so much with this process, and I am learning how much I don't know, and I think that's the most important thing here. So I'm learning to be less arrogant. I'm learning to listen to other people that have done things before me, and yeah, it's a process. I'm learning, I'm growing. I'm very excited about this. I'm very much looking forward to when we can actually move into this house and start living life out here. But as I said, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or you found some value to it or value from it, please give it a like so that it can spread to more people. And we'll see you guys in the next video.